Welcome to Dojo. Today, hey James. I think it's 11:30. I think we'll get it kicked off. I think it's 2.26 today. Yep. And we're in a new moon, Gemini. And it's interesting, as I kind of go into these phases of this rebirthing of these moon phases, and this is a real epic one. And all of them, I think this one is like they're talking about things that have like been showing up in herstory. And James's live today was just reminding me of this uncharted territory of this so far. And I was thinking about in order to clear a room, you can use a shofar, and it's a sound instrument made out of a horn. So interesting that the moon is in Taurus with the sun in Gemini, and then Venus is in Aries. So we're in this like new aspect of time, and it's coming out of time as you collapse the time is a little disorienting, and I'm having a little bit of a disorientation. So since nobody's hand is up, unless James wants to jump on in, I was gonna
ask you about your disorientation. I'd like to hear more.
Thank you. So when I tune in to my cartography or my own map making, I don't have a lot of orientation in my location. So the sonar of my consensual reality is not at all aligned to, say, this live that James just did. So when you listen to this live, and that feels so accurate, I feel like I'm a beak whale. All right. So I'm pinging, and then what I get back is like AM radio. So I'll just give you for instance, I like to go out, have a good time, dance and stuff. And somebody set me up with a beautiful human. I was able to witness like I've never been able to witness before, but then there's no witness back, like no resonance. And then so I posted on social media about this lonely. It's a feeling. It's a homing signal. It is something that's why to be here is a kind of a source of food for me. But I don't know how to navigate in the world where it's kind of rare that you meet another beaked whale. So it's this place where, if you're in this zone and you're creating or you're writing or, it's satisfying, but then you go out into the world and you're like, whoa, it's with a person that was sitting on the bench and fell off the bench 3 times because they were just so inebriated. And you're kind of watching this, and you're watching people really struggle. And there's like nothing broken, but there's also this level of like, I don't know, alien. Oh. So we have Alex's hand up. Go ahead, Alex.
Oh, I was gonna share with y'all about how everything is not broken, and about exactly what you're talking about the energies going around right now, and I think it's exactly where you are on this little stage, and exactly where you came in at, and how everything lines up when you're paying attention and you're learning what you're supposed to learn, and how everything is just happening exactly how it's supposed to happen, I should say. And I wanted to thank you again, James, because it seems I don't invest money in a whole bunch of stuff because every time I've invested in something, it's always let me down. It's always left me broke. It's always made me feel wanting, you know. And you're the first thing that I've ever invested in that's actually made me happy and feel good about what I invested in. You always keep me searching. You always keep me stretching myself. Uh, because I used to want to be the one who was always right, who always knew what was going on, who could teach people and show people, and the one to follow. But the more I let go and just let it happen, the more it shows me how you are right about how nothing is broken. It's every piece of it, every cell here is here for a reason, and it's exactly where it's supposed to be. The last few weeks, the reason why y'all haven't seen me in the chats or the dojo or anything is because I've been going through literal hell because I was trying to do the exact opposite. I was trying to force it to control it, to do what I wanted it to do, and it's the whole system. It's why you're still trying to look for a job, why you're still trying to look for a relationship, why you're still trying to control things instead of just letting it happen and manifesting and just remaining at a high frequency. Your life is going to be chaos. I invited this person here, female, and to just help me peel some shrimp, just to have somebody around, just to talk to. And I mean, it was literal chaos. This woman would not shut up. She was just left me just my God. I couldn't wait to get her out of the house. And my life was just my windshield got busted going looking for a job put a place where I shouldn't have been at because I knew the area wasn't good, but I was just gonna go in because he offered me some good money. And when I was there, he siphoned my tank so I wouldn't leave. He cut my straps on my hood, and my hood flew up doing 75 miles an hour, busted my windshield, almost killed me. I was lucky to get home. And and then I've been going through hell with my parents because they can't control me anymore. I've been out of jail for about 6 months now, and they're using that against me to keep me under control. Like my whole life has been, when they can't control me, they can't stand it. Because they have nobody else. All the rest of the children moved out of state. They don't want to be around them. But the one that they've abused, the one that they've tortured their whole life, that's the one they call. And I just a family member gave me a large building to make me a little tiny house. Well, it was they immediately moved it on their property so that they could have control over it. And then when I went to sell it, they wanted all the money that they ever gave me so that I wouldn't have anything to start my business with. But when I just finally just gave in and just you said, you know what, just go ahead, everything started to fall into place. People started calling me that I haven't talked to in years and saying, "Hey, I heard you was doing this. Let me go ahead and give you a hand. Let me help you with that." And it's awesome how everything works out when you just let it go and just let it fall into place. That's all I wanted to share.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. I relate a lot, and I'm just being a witness.
Well, if you think about what it takes to become a beaked whale, like long term, you probably, you're not just going to be like born there. You're going to find that you want to go deeper than other whales do. And after a while, people start calling you fucking beaked, and they're just like, look at that beaked whale. And you're the person that just goes deeper. And over time, you're the last person that finds out what kind of species you are. If you guys didn't know that, if you trump species and go identity after it, everyone else knows who you are before you do. And I think that we don't feel comfortable with that. And so we insist that's not true. And we have an internal idea of who we are. But truthfully, I think who we are is everyone informs you of who you are, and you fight like hell to not be that way. I really think that honestly, this is really what makes you who you are. That your identity is layered on you like a crystal, like a, I think it's called a ruby. It's like this six-sided thing. It like forms in this shape. It's like, what the, why are you forming that way? The whole time it's like, I don't know, but it doesn't matter how big or how small I get. This is the fucking shape. It's like that. And your psyche is not going to be able to take the fact that every single other person is a sculptor of you in that way. The world is sculpting you. Stop insisting it's not. This is you are on the skin of this creature, Gaia. So of course it's going to sculpt you. Of course it is. Not only is it going to do that, it's actually pretty cool. The thing that throws you off, Lori, is actually exactly what makes you become the beaked whale. The discomfort that you've all of us finally go through a relationship discomfort where we're like, I don't, this isn't good enough for me. This is really the only string you have. The only gear that you truly have to shape yourself, in my mind, is this pedal of entitlement that you get to squeeze this rope, this pull cord, and say, no, 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 no. And the amount that you squeeze is the amount that the world sees that you demand more. This is how a root pushes through gravel. It pushes its way through where it would typically be impossible. It finds the way because it believes it has this other concept. And isn't this just being able to go into the twilight of the ocean where no other animal can go? Aren't you just doing that? And a bunch of other creatures are higher up going, you're fucking insane. And here's what sucks is, Lori, you're coming back to them and you're asking, hey, can you define me more? And they're like, no, no, I can't. No, I can't fucking define you more. How am I supposed to do that? And this is honestly the threshold which decides how deep a root truly wants to go. How deep is it supposed to go even? It really comes down to that. How deep are you supposed to go? And you get to put yourself on, I think you get to unwrap yourself over time. That quite honestly, all of us have a similar characteristic in that we've pulled the cord more than the nothing wrong with slugs, but then a slug. That we decided that there's a time where we're like, I want a vertebrae. And the descendants of the skull were the slug were more like, I don't want to, I don't want to be too rigid, man. I don't mind living under rocks. I don't mind this. I don't mind memory itself, salt being the thing that kills me. Like it's such a different existence. You don't have that vertebrae, you don't have that. That's a big move. And when you make that, I think you can choose to devolve from that. I think we can choose to devolve. And all you have to do is you enter into a neighborhood that no longer respects your own property. And then you just say, these are my people. And then you just wait a little bit. They just rob you until you have nothing. And when I say rob you, I mean it's a piranha. You enter into the waters and you expect people to trim you. They're constantly trimming you like apes in the forest, pulling out what they deem bad and keeping the things that they think are good. This is fashion, but it's that tweening. You're being tweened by who you choose to go around. Are you covered in barnacles? You're going to think you're a barnacle. If you can swim deeper than I don't know if this is true, but if you can swim deep enough, the barnacles fall off. I don't know if that's true, but let's just say it is because that's kind of cool. It's this. I was reading today about these ocean. I didn't get to say this, but in this sad paragraph, there's this, oh, and because we're so dirty at the very bottom of the ocean where no one else is, they found like a candy wrapper. And I'm more like, are you kidding? This is fucking genius. It's genius that there are elements of us that can go all the way down and be immersed in the record, be recorded in that stuff. More importantly, I would imagine that there's probably some rappers down there that none of us fucking recognize. Like rappers from a like, right? Like What is this? Oh, this is back in the cataclysm of Ingve, and they've really fucking loved Twizzlers back then, but they were called Gazizzlers or something. All the records are there. If you look at Hades as what's uncomfortable, then art is a depth. Being creative is a depth. Going out on your own is a depth. Saying, I don't want this job anymore is a depth. Figuring out this is not the city for me, or this is not the behavior that I want in my life, or I don't know if I'm willing to take this chance. All those are your depth. I think that we're terrified knowing that this truly is all the throttle. It's so scary to think about because of the consequences of our own entitlement. That's that there's no one else to blame. You can not have a spine, but it's going to take you as long as it took for you to grow one, right? You can probably devolve from that. I think that's who we are. We devolved our smell. It's a pretty creative act. Pretty fucking brilliant. So even holding yourself to a higher standard and then discovering later, I don't really like it here. This is not this is this is part of that. This sounds so cheesy, but it's like I used to think that I was supposed to be like a yuppie, like a go to law school, go to Georgetown and do that and like be a partner and have a convertible and some sort of foreign symbol on it and drive fast and say almost fire. Like I never understood what identity was then. I was just trying on the costumes of that and insisting this must be who I was. And luckily, the world it showed me that this is who the world was saying I was, and I either had to put up with it or not. Same thing comes down to: are you going to be a man? What kind of man are you? Are you going to be a woman? What kind of woman are you? What kind of employee are you? What kind of entrepreneur are you? How well do you do? How poorly do you do? Not just financially, but emotionally, the way you listen, the way you don't listen, right? A big, huge mouthful, but I appreciate the share, Lori.
Well, thanks, James. It's interesting. I kind of sitting in this nothing is broken and there's synchronicities everywhere. So there's like these levels of synchronicities. And I think when the synchronicity is going like it feels good, then it's like, oh, but when it feels yucky, I think there's a lot of growth in the yucky feeling, a lot of growth in the yucky feeling, but nobody really wants to do that one. It's just, the depth. I think of depth and death as like, it's kind of synonymous. When you go into a different depth, there's more pressure and then there's some death. And there's like a burn off of that. And I know Graham Hancock is a little bit controversial, but he has done a lot of deep sea diving for herstory or whatever. But the dating and everything of archaeology, I think it's about to change because they're finding structures because the places that have not been explored, and it takes a lot of money to just go into the depths and to find these, and there's megalithic structures on every continent. And he's dove there, and I was kind of watching it and he's showing the blocks, and it's like Sase woman in Peru where there's these megalithic blocks, and of course at the bottom of these trenches, these abysses. So there's just a lot of stuff in this salt, in this depths of these oceans. And I'm just going to share one more thing. Like when I went down to Miami to go to the Bimini Wall, and before that, we were doing a lot of work with the ocean and like communicating with the whales to bring our consciousness down there of what we're doing up here. And that's why I'm sensing that there's not too many people I can talk to about my experiences, but they're really real. It's like more real than the conversations that I'm surrounded by. So I appreciate being heard here. So I really could say I think Alex's hand is up and then Nancy. Go ahead, Alex.
If you really, I don't know if you ever heard of Miss Sandra in the Tree of Knowledge. She does videos of things like you would love to talk to Miss Sandra. And she's actually has quite a few videos on how to remote view so that you can go to these places yourself without having to leave your house or wherever you are. How to remote view, and you can actually see them yourself. You can see anything you want without even leaving your home. And I'm starting to get a little put my finger on it, but yeah, she teaches you how. I
Oh,
just wanted to share that.
that's awesome. Okay, go ahead, Nancy.
Hey, good to see everybody. Um, wow, I hope I can articulate this. So I'm like tuning into the chemistry that you talk about, James. And so I was with my son, Wiley, and I was telling him what I shared here about, his text to work and I'm gonna like demand I can only do like the most simple exams and maybe 5 minutes into the conversation, I just love that he just says, "Mom, it sounds like you hate your job." And I had to sit with that. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I hate my fucking job." I and so it's been several days, and I'm like, so there's a program or a frequency that I can't hate anything. This is just me, some of my stuff, hating is bad, and then the chemistry of all the chemistry that I had with my work, like, and so what I was getting was, so I couldn't, like, it took a while to say, "Mom, I think you hate your job." But I got to then explore what those frequencies, or what those, yeah, frequencies, chemistries of what, that I couldn't get there myself. And I was like, "Thank you." It was just this really cool connection, and I made my decision. I'm not going back because I really hate my job. And then I actually did, though, find a time where I really liked it, and it was before it became big corporation, and so I have some fond memories, of when I liked it. So, but I was just like, wow, it was so hard for me to get there on my own to be able to just say that. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I totally relate, Lori. Like, this community is the only place you can come with some of this. Most people wouldn't get what I'm talking about. So, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy, and congratulations on knowing, it's like knowing what that is. Sometimes you need another person to say, you get so used to going to something that you think it's a purpose, like it's a purpose. And then, wait a second, I'm not serving anyone if I hate what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think this is really just a lower form of consciousness. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just doing something uh, regardless of whether or not you feel resonant or enjoy by it is it's only, let me see how I can say this right. It's only shitty if you've grown from it. You it's only when you do it enough that you realize how unacceptable this is, and you reach a place where you're like, this is completely unacceptable. The closest I can give you proximity to this is being in the military. There's when you truly enlist in the military, you are agreeing to the, not just the fact you have to kill someone or be killed. That's like low on the scale. You agree to a lower form of just treatment of life, of expectation, of your humanity, your reduction, your decision making process, what goes into your body, what doesn't go into your body, your commissary privileges, your parking privileges, the how long your hair can be. So the slavery is perfect. It's perfect. And it's showing you a system where people that are willing to kill each other purely for the slavery of fitting into that system are allowed to go kill each other in a autonomous, homogeneous, liquid chemical equation called Normandy. Like that beach is just a place inside the beaker, where the most acidic and the most base conscious forms were able to meet and resolve. And over time, the acidity of that becomes more complex, and it becomes less fiery, but still more complex. And so now you have psychopathy, sociopathy, where we don't even really have terms for it. We're even learning that there's something called doping. I don't even know what to call it, guys. It's just this idea of excessively uh, breaking the rules just for that's a kind of psychopathy, but it's something very specific. It's a very specific chemical state, right? That someone is in. And all of us love those crystals. None of this would be even on our forefront if this wasn't happening to us all the time. If we weren't watching people that fall over drunk, or we weren't watching people raise a family with really fucked up ideas, or watching people navigate a world of doing their job and stealing, or not even stealing, just even accepting some of the lowest forms of condition, and saying it's real, saying, yeah, I could do this. I've I could not understand how so many people were willing to just stand in a hallway for 4 hours, and just all you're doing is just watching to see if something comes on fire. To me, this was one of the most torturous jobs I've ever had, was standing on fire watch. You weren't allowed to walk. You weren't, it was just, you were here just in case something catches on fire. And that to me is a torture. But my grandparents would have said, God, if I could get a job where I'm not covered in shit and doing this and doing that, and all I have to do is fucking stand here for 4 hours, I'd be the most successful person in the world, and I'm getting a free haircut. I'm getting free boots. I get dental care. Holy shit, man. How dare you complain about that? And this is why I think it's so terrifying, because when we see these people and we say I'm above this, the whole time we're like, fuck, am I above this? Am I really above this? I'm gonna let go. Fuck, am I really above this? And I think that's why society is so tense. It's tense because of that. It's tense because if everyone else is letting go and you're afraid to let go, it's going to hurt when you see your friends letting go of something you're not able to let go of. It's going to hurt. It's going to sting. You're going to be like, don't you fucking let go. Yeah, how fucking dare you? Don't, yeah, well, fuck. And all that's going to start, and no one even knows what it's about. I call this prawn economy, but it's because your belief structures are deteriorating, because they're being defined by everyone around you. I'll say it again. Your belief structures are deteriorating because they are being defined by everyone around you. And you have the ability to make this stop. First rule of your church: it's fucking perfect. What I lack is the perspective to see. This is a perfect, perfect chemistry. Second rule: entitlement is the source of all growth, up or down, doesn't matter. You are allowed to descend. If you do not give yourself permission to descend, you will have to lie to yourself and say, I'm trying to climb, man. I'm trying to climb, as you're going down the fucking up escalator, bitching at the whole world at how everyone is out to fucking get you. And it's a beautiful karmic dance, isn't it? It's gorgeous. I've done it. I know this. I'm doing it right now, right? Because you're like, well, I thought I wanted to be up there, but now people are expecting shit out of me. And I'm just like, I don't want to fucking do that. How do I? Oh, I'll drink. I'll just asphyxiate, or I'll just do this, or I'll just do that. Problem solved, man. Problem solved, because All you got to be is less fucked up as the next guy, which means you're just going to slowly find yourself in a tepid pool where it's not too cold, not too warm. It's a Goldilocks of fucked upness. It really is. It's a Goldilocks of us telling ourselves this story. And if you come back to perfect, the church, the church returns. And you realize you're not getting out of this. You're not getting out of this because this is it, man. This is it. This is a good place to be. This is perfect. That's why you're not getting out of it. You cannot escape the perfection. You can't. It's all this is you arguing over whether or not it is. It's really all it is, man. You know? You're never going to make this all the time. But if you make this your church, it'll be the shittiest nights in the world, and you will find a holy grail just glowing in the sky. And I know I've told you the holy grail has syphilis, but in this case, just go for it anyway, because I'm telling you, it will get you through the night. It will move you through that place. It will.
Thanks, James. Wow. I'm going to have to re-listen to that because I got some of the notes down. Yeah, today is interesting because we're in one of the two holidays that we have hot dogs and hamburgers for when we memorialize or veteranize. So we have MJ's hand up. Go ahead, MJ. First and then Deb.
Hi. I was gonna for one say so on the last dojo I think you said you were going to be in your van and traveling and whatnot. And so when you said that, like I don't know, I think everybody here probably does this, but if you're here, you're probably really focused and really present and in your feelings, hopefully. But like, so when you say you're gonna go travel in your van, like I I think that you could say that we're with you. So I don't know if you feel that or not, like if and it makes it feel like it's not as lonely for me anyway, when you know that there are people out there that are, maybe it's the same frequency or maybe it's just that we meet here, but like that makes it better for me. And and then second of all, I would say that like your experience with the guy with the whoever was falling off the bench, at least you were there. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes the world is so weird. It's like I'm not there enough. I hate that feeling where it's just like you're watching it. It would be like a simulation feeling, even though I know it's divine. But like if, going to the grocery store and I'll see a person who is like looks like something I saw in a meme earlier that day, and it's like, well, that's weird, and I guess that's kind of funny, but it's also kind of lame. And I don't know, like, going out in the world can just be kind of weird. And I don't want to dissociate. I want to be more present. And that's hard to negotiate sometimes for me, you know. I just wanted to say that.
Wow.
Do you think you're disassociating because you're turning people into memes? I just want to understand how you feel the
No,
dissociation.
it'll feel like, well, I don't know what to call this phenomenon. Like, maybe it's like what you said about latent space, where you go out and like, and something, I mean, it can be hilarious. Like sometimes the universe just has the funniest sense of humor. It'll be like kind of ridiculous, like the way somebody's dressed or something, or, um, I don't know. I could give you like, I mean, I would have to show you a specific example, but I don't know if it's just the newness of something I'm aware of, but like dissociating because sometimes it feels not real. It and in other moments feel so beautiful and incredibly real. So I start to get really picky and choosy about what I do, and then that becomes not flow state. So it's like trying to negotiate and be like, okay, I'm gonna, be more immersed in even going to the grocery store, even just really mundane
Yeah.
things.
This is God, this is fucking amazing. There's a filter in Photoshop called vibrance, and if you've got like a flat picture, you run vibrance on it, and it just like every color gets deeply saturated.
Yeah,
And after you've become addicted to vibrance, and all of us became addicted to that. It was this isn't just Photoshop, by the way, but it's this filtering concept. It's kind of
yeah,
uh, once our limbic appetite starts to taste that, it changes our color palette. And I think the psyche works the same way. And it sounds to me like what you're doing is uh, grabbing at air that belongs to you out of the cosmos, and you're simply struggling with why you have to gather more resolution. Things are feeling fake because you have more profundity at your
yeah,
disposal. You have a limbic appetite for more profundity, and the caricatureness, the fakeness of it, I think is probably that latent space tool giving you the profundity to shape the grocery store, to
yeah,
shape the actual alley and say, what is my limbic flavor as I go to, because I expect you literally are a queen. You're like, roll the fucking red carpet out every aisle because I expect a full experience here. And if
yeah,
I can't get it out of the soup labels, if there's no one on the aisle, I'm going to have to get it out of the soup labels. I'm going to go down the cereal aisle because there's a lot of cartoons on there. And so this is a desperate attempt for you to choose a form of transit because you're looking for it's nowhere different than the scenic route is a very crucial part of I deserve to have a scenic route,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So the it becomes higher maintenance, and the higher maintenance is what I say we struggle with because we're like, fuck, do I really have to cut this this Gouda cheese? Can I just, here's cheddar. Can I just, no, you need to go get Gouda. You need to slice apples and they need to be beside each other on a fucking plate. And you're going
yeah.
to have to fucking do this right because it's a river and the sun's going down and fucking don't screw this up. Then you're like, I have to have an immersive moment. I have to have an immersive moment. And you are actually having an immersive moment as you're freaking out about the cheese. Right.
Exactly.
So you're
Yeah.
still getting the flavor. And if you started to trust that feeling, if you started to trust the like, okay, why am I freaking out, man? Why am I freaking out over no cheese? And this is where you can laugh like in a beautiful, accepting, not in a dismissive way, but in a full, because you've caught yourself. You've been
Hmm.
like, oh my God, you were a kitten the whole time, batting at me as I was coming down the stairs this whole time.
Hmm.
This is what I was doing. I was playing with myself because I was suffocating from the mundanity because I deserve more now, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
even the fakeness is actually it's good, but you're learning to taste cilantro. You're
Hmm.
learning to have those color palettes that are at first you're like, oh, why does that taste like bleach?
Right. Yep.
Oh, this is good. This is good. I think I just identified the watching a person fall off the bench and hearing this person I was set up with. He was talking a lot about his wife dying and a pretty brutal death, and he was this caretaker for this person, and I was so interested in witnessing, and I just got so compassionate and compassionating with it. I just felt all the feelings, and then I thought, well, I had to go back to church to say nothing's broken. And because when people are having these things, you could make it like, oh, that's so, I don't know, like a meme. If you see a meme of like a homeless person and you're like having to compassionate that, it feels like something's broken. So I just identified what happened to me. So
Let me
I wasn't
throw in,
having fun. I wasn't having fun. So
yeah.
yeah.
I know there's other hands up, and I
Yeah.
appreciate everybody. I want you to know though that when I'm telling you everything's perfect, your role as a flower, your goal, you're expected to still output. You're expected to pollinate this fucking place. And when you feel shame, when you look at someone who is acting beneath themselves, you are pollinating them. And if you can do that with a witness that is unashamed, you actually are giving them confidence to see themselves. So people will find you and purposely wait and look for the biggest redwood tree in the forest I talk about is the one that gets beaten. So too would be they're going to fall in front of you. They're going to fall in front of you because they want to see if your witness could handle the shame that they cannot see. Right? So you confidently see this in them. This is compassionately seeing, right? And it pollinates. When this hurts you, I want you to imagine that you're simply in tune with the feedback of your own visor. That the, oh God, I feel bad. This guy's such a fucking, oh my God, what is this? Look how oh, oh, I should do more. I shouldn't do more. All this is them. It's their raw energy. And you have the limbic ability to go there now. And this is exactly what it feels like. You're associating into them because that's what it would feel like. It's this is such a gross analogy. I'm sorry, I'll say this and I'll shut up. I hate that this is the analogy I'm ending on, but so there's a guy that like had to use like a sawzall to cut up his loved one's body parts. I'm sorry, but it's just that's what happened. And I've used a sawzall, and I know that the vibration of the thing that you're cutting is being transmitted, and I just couldn't help but like empathize about how he had to have felt that, like the vibration of who. This is really dark. I'm sorry. The vibration of fur is like going into him. And I saw how perfect this world is. Do you understand what I mean? I swear I'm not a fucking psycho. I'm just saying that as I was thinking about that and how you can't help but transmit that, it really does show how truly chemically connected we are. I say chemically because it's the only way for you to understand that you're saturated in it. It's a wetness. It's a wetness. You're not getting dry. It's not gonna fucking happen, man. It's not gonna happen. The dryness is gonna be your entitlement to want less, right? Your entitlement to want to step away. Sorry, it's such a dark, but it's so true though. Such an interest.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Deb.
I actually have a couple things I wanted to mention that fit with this. The first one, I'll say this one, the other one. All right. So I saw a comedian um, who was feeling a lot of empathy for people who were being blown up. And while he was talking about this, how he was feeling so much about the event, and that it was on, they were seeing it all the time, and a whole bunch of people jumped on him and said he was mentally ill because he was feeling empathy. I watched the guy. He was feeling empathy perfectly. There was nothing, it was stupid. Anyway, I just think our culture's gotten incredibly stupid while I haven't been out there. It's probably, it was all me. Anyway, the other thing is, I have this idea, and this ties in with what you were talking about earlier, that our thoughts move in the same way the internet moves, because I think a lot about how our thoughts are, how am I reading my husband's mind and vice versa all the time? How, so anyway, I know that's true, but I don't understand how. So I thought you were the perfect person to ask. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally think about this a lot because of I'll use the word quantum entanglement, but as you hang out with your husband, you guys both gets stretched and your antenna becomes the same shape in certain ways. And so you tune to certain things. This is why you both have the same home, the same mailing address. Having the same mailing address is actually having a certain codon signature, if you think about it. Like there's certain information is going to come into you, and because you both share the resonance of 45768, South Main Drive, those words themselves are the shape of an antenna, and now you're receiving things on that signal. But it doesn't just happen that way. Both of you maybe watch the same show. Both of you have the same green peas at a certain day at a certain time. All these things are affecting your transposons and shaping your antenna. And this is why I think certain family members have these kind of premonitions, especially with between like cats and dogs and humans too that are in the same family. All of them are vibrating in the same way because their antennas are purposely, because they're trying to relate to each other, they're purposely tuning themselves into the same shape. Therefore, that same shape gives them the same ideas. Most of the things when we get are telepathic. There's been studies about this, but it's like the inner office communication is so much more telepathic than it is verbal. We actually literally imagine that we've had conversations with each other in our mind about gossip and about things like that, and it's all transmitted over the eyes. So in my mind, this is how this is working. You're basically just climbing onto a shared IP address that just has a radiance from the sun of source information. The source, so if the sun hits you and your dog, it's one thing. But if you and your dog are both listening to 88.6 FM, that you guys are going to both hear at least certain parts of the music in your room is going to be on the same, frequency. It's just, yeah.
I think it's very cool. And I don't understand how the internet works, but I just had that came to me very clearly one day.
Yeah, the internet would even be easier to look at in the sense of as you get to know every part of your body, where your elbow is, and that the psychic address of that elbow would be an address that doesn't have that no one else has. And this is what space is. Space is an IP informable addressable system, meaning that, sorry, that sounds complicated, but if you fill the world up with marbles, uh, there's only going to be so many marbles, and each marble is going to not just take up space, it's actually going to prevent any other marble from being in the same spot. So matter itself, spatial world matter itself, is a network. It's a network where everybody has an addressable IP address. We call it geo coordinates, right?
Right.
So we're just adding one more, which would be the above sea level. Now we have a volumetric geocoordinatal system called matter, and that all the particles that are on that matter are occupying an IP address. And I can hit that IP address if I physically go to that spot and I flick my finger. And if I flick my finger right here, then that IP address is being hit by me. I'm attacking it. I'm changing it. I'm grabbing ownership of it by occupying its space. I'm taking clay and I'm cramming it into the space that was there. And now the clay is new matter that came from these other things. So now I've just forced something into the world that's taken up space that no one else has been able to take up before. In order for them to have that space back, the network back, they have to remove my physical record. They have to destroy the vase that I make. Boom. And distribute it back into the particles it is, but they still can't change what I did. They still can't change that each one of those particles remembered that I used to be a vase a long time ago. This is just a network, guys. This is just a Google Doc sheet. It's a fucking Excel spreadsheet. That's all it really, I mean, it doesn't have to be all that. I'm not trying to be nihilistic, but it's such a brilliant way of understanding the monad of how this works, that matter and space itself actually give you an informed network. It's a shareable, informed network that's purely based on the fact that none of you could be in the same place. I know I keep repeating this, but your pineal gland being in the center of your skull, I think is kind of giving you that. It's your skull can only occupy so much space. Therefore, you're only going to be a unique individual. There's no way to prove it otherwise. It's physically impossible in this world for us to put two pineals in the exact same spot. So there's no way that we can prove locality, causality, all that stuff.
Right.
It's just myth, right? Because of the way the network works. Great stuff, though. I always love what you bring, Deb. Thanks.
Thank you. One more thing. And you guys probably already know this, but some Native American tribes say that the whale is record keeper of humanity. Love that.
I didn't know that. Good to know.
Yeah, and they hold the dolphins and the whales hold the memories because of that salt. Another ancient stuff.
Yeah, because Delphi and Delphic Oracle of Delphi and Apollo came down via a dolphin. Actually, he wrote a little dolphin boat.
I love the research you're doing on that salt and the whales. I think it's going to be amazing. Right on time. Hey, Renee, you're up.
Hi. I'm just thinking about the range of those mammals too, how they can go from north to south, on the pole of this planet we've got here. So we've got those contrasts and how they know how to travel. And they're just, of course, they know what's going on. They know what's going on. But I was thinking about, I brought up, I think it was just yesterday, it was Saturn took a full turn through all the houses and it landed back in Aries yesterday. So I keep thinking back to what I was doing in 1996 and what I thought about what a relationship was, what a friendship was, what I was doing. I'd been in my mid-20s and, about my Saturn return. And the fact that it's today and it's a new moon in Gemini does not, I'm totally like feeling that connected to this huge shift. And it makes me think about friendships and pretend-ships. A lot of our relationships are pretend. And it's determined about where you're thinking, where you're placing your cosmology compared to theirs. There's really nothing stable about it other than there's a lesson within it, whether you stay or you end the pretend game. You know what I mean? And it's just so great to see how far we've all come in that. We must have all gone so far from 29.5 years ago or 28 years ago that this journey has been. But yeah, the pretending and really the reliance you only have is on yourself. You can pretend your own garden. You know what I mean? So that's how we get into our play as children, and that's how we develop our worlds. And then we act like we can pretend into a friendship, and a friend is a rend, like a rendering friend. I was like, what goes with render? Like friend, rend, friend. So we render the lessons and situations we need to grow and evolve in this place. And we choose to climb that ladder or we don't, so I can see where I could have stayed stuck in a lot of places. I didn't because I'm me. I don't know. Like I just go with the flow here. And I've been working with James's stuff has really been helpful. Like a lot of you have said. He's done such great research, James. Really, thank you. But, we're all doing our own research too. And I look at all of you and just kind of doing this work. And it's so productive and potent. And yeah, that's about it. That's what I got. Thanks a lot.
Wow, thanks, Renee. Bringing more astrology in, and the MC brought some in about Sedna and how that story of her getting her fingers cut off by her father, and all of those fingers turned into the sea creatures. And she's real active right now. I'll let MC talk on that. But you're after Alex, and I don't know if Deb, if you're finished, your hand is still up. You're finished? Okay, so go ahead, Alex. I don't hear you.
I just wanted to get James's thoughts on angel numbers and synchronicities. Like whenever I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I see a lot of angel numbers, a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a lot of 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, and all that stuff. But whenever I'm not, it's just they're not there. Especially recently, I've been seeing a lot of them, and I just wanted to get his thoughts on them. That's it.
Well, I think it comes down to that. There's an appetite there that we have, and synchronicity fits. It's a certain kind of flavor to that. So when we experience synchronicities, where we have I don't think it's as simple as we have a craving for synchronicities. I think we have a craving for connection into our environment, and synchronicities are sort of like a really free basing kind of way of like really getting there faster. So, I personally have gotten most of my magic as a creativist from synchronicities most of my life. I've always found that that's the most torque that I've found. So in my mind, it's a thing that you go out and gather in the morning, like morals in a bag. You gather your synchronicity and you put it in a medicine pouch, and then you bring it home and you use it. And it goes bad if you don't use it fast enough, and if you have too much, it loses its flavor because you want just enough. So it's a resource that I collect and use, but it's a resource that uh, I don't find myself putting a lot of time into the trophy aspect of it, of just having it around. This is very delicate what I'm saying, because I think it's good when we see this, but I also think that it could be that we're sort of almost wasting some magic, that the magic could have been physically in the world, but we're seeing it as numbers instead. I hope this kind of explains what I mean. It's like you could have laid out a painting or created a new garden plot, or done something else, but that connection stuff could, there's almost like a shortcut, and you can see it in the synchronicity instead. It's almost like creating an imaginary song in your head without actually having to do the work. And I think most of life should be that way. I think you should not create more than you should create. I really do mean that, in the sense of not physically, but like constantly be practicing approaching the canvas and doing something. So noticing synchronicity is important, but it also could be like your fuel injectors are a little bit rich, if you know what I mean. So you're putting a lot more fuel into the engine than you need, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of cool, but also you could be using that in other ways. So I don't find myself as focused on angel numbers and things. However, I use this stuff all the time, like all the time. I utilize the synchronicities of that thing all the time. If I find a toy on the road and I'm out walking, that means a lot to me. Like if it's a little tiny fire truck, that like that holds a lot more meaning to me than other things. So I'm a hypocrite. I'm just trying to say that I want a certain amount of synchronicity, Alex, and I don't want too much of it, and I don't I don't I've noticed that it's a lot like potlatch, that I can't really talk about it a lot. When I talk about it, it sort of changes it a little bit. I don't mind talking about it because I like to discuss magic. So to me, it's worth it, but it's almost like I'm kind of spending the magic on that. It's very much like a magician who's like, "Hey, did you guys see my rubber thumb?" And you're like, "Well, what do you mean rubber thumb?" He's like, "Well, watch this." And then you show the rubber thumb, and then you explain the trick. And then people are supposed to be all like, "Oh," when it's not really that impressive, is it? Why did you, this sounds so philosophical, forgive me, but why did you have to show them the trick? And this is a lot of times how I feel about the synchronicity of numbers. I feel like it's sort of like that. And I feel like there's no drama. There's not enough drama here for me. There could have been a little bit, we could have used the torque of wonderment in a different way. I sound judgmental. I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying that's why I don't talk a lot about it. I don't know how to talk about it, because when I do, it ruins it. I really like 369. We did the 369 gathering. That really meant a lot to me. It's a perfect
I know
example
I
of
missed
how
it.
I'm being a hypocrite. But that number, that won't be here for another 9 years. I'm really glad that Renee and I were like, hey, let's not fucking talk about it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna fucking do it. It's really important to me. So I guess I'm just telling you one thing and meaning another. I have very different thoughts about it. Kind of like mushrooms. The exact same theory about mushrooms, honestly.
All right, James, thanks.
Thank you, James.
So we have MC, go ahead.
Okay. So I was thinking about whales and Sedna. And I guess it's an asteroid. Is that an asteroid? So I think she just moved into Gemini, which is about learning how to manage your inside outside, right? Kind of like Libra, Gemini. That's all. I think they're so similar. Anyway, I was thinking, I was also gonna say, so that's about giving and receiving messages. And then I was watching one of James' videos the other day that showed a piece of mail that, and it was from a government, and you were saying that it has you can a demons are kind of installed because you get a piece of threatening mail that has a threat and authority and something else. But anyway, that's a great video. I love that because I often think about how um messages, because it's a throat chakra thing for me. So giving and receiving messages, and it's like think about how awesome it would be to like get like a letter delivered from somebody on horseback, and it was probably on handmade paper, and it's like, oh, that's so rich, you know. And now you can get an email that's going to tell you what your boring pieces of mail are, you know. So like that's ridiculous. That's getting an email about the mail that you're going to get that day. I don't know if you guys know you can do that, but that's so silly to me. But also, the way the postman, he drives on the right, she drives on the right side of the road, but like their seat has to be in the other side. And then I was also thinking about how uh, some countries drive on the other side, and what that has to do with, that just shows how weird our messages are, you know, given, get like received, and also how given. I don't know. I was
If
just pointing that
if
out.
if you look at the if not to make anyone an Osiris around here, but the Osiris model would have a requirement for there to be an artery and a vein into every location, and we and all of our roads have that. All of our roads have this information, and it's flipped. On one side of the hemisphere it's in one way, and on the other side it's the other way. And this is a homogeneous principle that most of us, it's bilateralism, or it's probably not it, but it's like the way your brain turns into lobes and things like that. So I think about this all the time. The more I look at this as a hallucination of being inside a body, just the more it just rock solidly just keeps shuddering as, yeah, it's exactly exactly. Even when it comes down to the information, because we would need to somehow process the idea that every day we could get little bits, little tiny bits of signature, little protein shells from across the globe, and the protein shell would be something that you open, and when when you open it, there'd be fucking information inside, and we have something called mail, and we send each other letters, and because we're addressable, right? Because we occupy a certain space and there's no way around it. All of us can send each other different mail. All of us have the capacity to do it, first by horseback, later by plane, now by electronic. And all these are the exact same thing, which is showing you this underlying structure of what's really there, which is an Osiris model, quite frankly. It's really difficult to picture it any other way. Great stuff.
Wow. I was just thinking about cyclones and hurricanes and counterclockwise cyclones, clockwise hurricanes, you know, like how we drive on one side and then that left side, right side of the hemisphere, and how that kind of is like as above, so below and inside of us. Hey, Yesenia, your hand's up. Yay, good to see you.
Hey y'all. Yeah, I've just resonated a lot with what's been said. This is also my place of nutrition, for the week. Um, Wow. I've realizing that this new moon in Gemini is allowing me to like harness communication, and I've I too like I used to be around a big circle of people, and I would feel the most alone. And now that I've kind of cut and severed those connections, I'm really just like I've dived within. I'm just more receptive of my environment. Even for instance, when I go to the grocery store, I feel that baby that's crying for the cereal. Like I'm like, can you please give it to him? Like I resonate like with it so hard, or at the dog park or anywhere that I go at work. I'm very scared, mentioning the fear earlier. There's going to be some investors coming to the store, and my mentor wants me to sit in on that meeting. And I feel like I have to learn a whole new language that only pertains to that area of my life. And I'm kind of intimidated, but I'm trying to just, breathe that out and focus and study and just learn what the KPI is and just integrate that within my language and, be an adult. I guess that's what I'm gonna call it. With people ultimately, especially like at work, I mentioned several dojos ago how I felt the hyena, circle around me. I see that once I truly like stay aligned, they they go away. Like, so thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, Yesenia. I was kind of feeling into what it feels like to be your age and being asked to step into that meeting and learning new things and not being afraid to learn new things. It's just really inspiring. I just wanted to say good on you. And I think the experiential learning and not having all the answers and going in the way that you already present yourself would be a real asset, a huge asset. But you don't, sometimes we can't see what we are, but I can see that you're a huge asset.
Yeah, they're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
Probably don't know that, but they do. They'll know it.
So good on in, stepping on in, doing something uncomfortable. Hey, Pi, good to see you.
Well, hello, everyone. Yeah, I was just thinking about the angel numbers because, I've seen those numbers and then in, receipts or, go, oh, look, my grocery bill is 1166. But, but I always, do all the things, and there's other things too, like James, is talking about, but MJ, is that what you go by, or Mary Jo? Like you talked about the email to tell you what type of mail you're getting, and it's like I think the angel numbers are kind of like how I look at like mushroom tripping, or you're seeing like the girders underneath the facade of the building. I mean, in the nicest way, that's not scary, but it's not giving you a lot of information. It's just telling you that coincidence might be different than what you think and giving you a chance. Is kind of the way, and so that's why I don't delve into it either, because I don't really want to ruin the magic of and how James is talking about, you don't see inside the bones, right? It's like you don't want to see somebody's bones sticking out of their flesh when you're walking down the street. It's, I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that in because it just kind of seemed to relate,
Thanks, Pi. We have some time, and I want to make sure that anyone that hasn't spoken and is new and wants to raise your hand, there's a reaction button on the bottom, and you just put your little hand up, and we'll call on you. And yeah, I was thinking, Pi, about that Terence McKenna and his time theory, and the idea of where we are right now is like we're in this like hyper novelty Well, there's so many things. There's so many new things. It's always like new, 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 new. So yeah, I was thinking about I don't really want to know. I want to stay in the magic myself. So I really appreciate your share. Hey, Renee, go ahead.
Oh gosh, I was doing some research today about our belly buttons and where they land in our bodies typically. And typically they're right in the middle, I guess the vertical, whatever the middle would be. But it also said that it's directly between your xiphoid process and your pelvis, where so that was really cool to me. And I imagine, being in the womb and going through all that development and being suspended from the umbilical cord in this space, right? You don't know what's going on. You're just like, oh, ho, ho, ho. Yet your mother is taking in the sun, right? The womb that you're in is taking in the sun. So when we're born, we have the cord and we have the placenta. So that I believe would be our horse and our raw straw. And I was just having so much fun with that. And as you grow bigger in the womb, then you get cheek to cheek with your placenta, right? You're just like right next to it. And just thinking about that separation and the huge, surprise when you come out of that tunnel of light and you're like, what the heck am I breathing now? So I can see how we can relate to the whales.
And Renee, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's got me wondering, fuck, man. We don't actually leave our mothers.
There we go.
We imagine that we emerge. And so then you take that back and we are all just living inside of a pod, 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 inside of a pod. Universe inside of universe. It's kind of blew me away. Really cool idea, Renee. Thank you.
Just throwing domes on a dome on a dome, So there's our right. Well, we're geniuses. I'm going to say we're the Genesis. We are the Genesis. Okay, that's what I wanted to share. Thanks.
Thanks, Renee. I was thinking about that. Like we're breathing water and we're like fish in a fish tank, like Dory. And we're like, we forget we're in the fish tank. And it's like, and then they jump out the fish tank, All right. So go ahead. Go ahead, MJ. And then Nancy.
So that made me think of this word I found on etymology, Etym Online. And I'm super geek about that. I really love that's like the first thing I do is go look up some etymology of a word. And I found this word probably because I was looking at amniotic fluid or the word amniotic, but amnion means cup for a sacrifice. And I was like, whoa, that kind of was like, whoa, amnion, cup for a sacrifice. And so that's like amniotic fluid that's like has ion in it. And it's just one of those loaded words. And I think that has to do a lot with your inside outside experience and what you sacrifice as far as your energy or calories or whatever. And that's all I was gonna say.
Well, that's not all. That's just really huge. that's like what was it? A cup for a sacrifice. Amnia.
Okay, it's you know that website Etym Online. Okay.
Okay.
It's AMNION. Amnion.
Wow. Wow, cool.
Okay.
That was really a lot to think about, and I'm really grateful for that. Yeah. So Nancy, go ahead.
I got so much to chew on. Such good topics today. So I just have a couple fun stuff. So in '96, I got married to my second husband, and I started my Babylon job. So I'm like, oh my, wow. So that's kind of fun. So today, James, and this is really true. I can get my husband to the synchronicities are I find them fun. They're just fun. I used to put more into it years ago, but now they're just fun. And you were talking about colors on the stream today, and my favorite color is periwinkle. And the first year I was dating Larry, he called me up and he goes, Nancy, what's your favorite color? And I immediately said periwinkle. And he goes, you got a primary on? And we just had this really great laugh because, well, that's my favorite color. So anyway, and another thing, I heard you once say, Renee, that Jesus is, geez, it's us, right? Well, Yeshua is, yes, you are. Kind of sounds a little Jewish, right?
Oh, good stuff. Really good stuff.
That is so good, Nancy. Yes, you are. Jesus. I mean, it's so beautifully just all inlaid in the world. It's so esoteric. It's right there. But, you have to have a field clear enough to see it.
Yeah. I like how you do that with that peepholes, the people or
peepholes. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. Hues, man. We're all hues, man.
That's right. That's right. I put an article, Is the IRS a Chain Letter, in the chat, and it's only because it shows you the different. If you scan through your mail really quick, I've just pulled out some labels that like almost ubiquitously everyone would see has been like, oh fuck, or it's like a final notice, or it's a certain color, or it's got a government thing, and even like the Census Bureau has a little bit of torque to it when you see that. Like it you don't just automatically, you kind of like, oh, what? Oh, census, okay. Then so it's like all these are our ion channels working, and you're just interpreting the data. The reason why all of us have the same interpretations is because it's the same. We're having the same energy. And this is why I'm convinced, if no matter where you go in America, you can be on an interstate or on a road, and something about old Bobcat Lake is a very deeply informative locational device. I just don't think we're firmly really tapping into what that means. There's a psychic way that we are able to localize, but we don't localize in the same way a computer network does. We localize on a limbic reflective way. Do you understand? The way something limbically feels is going to fire a certain constellation in your neurological brain, a certain firework. Picture a firework going off every time you see the word banana. That banana is going to be on the southern hemisphere. It's going to be pointed towards the Tropic of so and so. It's going to be in the house of Leo. I'm just making this stuff up, but it's like that's where that constellation is. And the locality of that, just as we can pull information from locality, just as you can pull information from smell about how old they are, what their gender is, where they are hormonally speaking, what have they had in their diet, so too can you pull things from limbic storage. The constellation that's firing in your brain is deeply connected to the way you feel about a certain event. The way you feel about a certain event turns out to be the most highest resolution, with compression, cleanest way of storing information, of thoughtfulizing, right? Of thoughtfulizing the world so that you can recall it later. So the recall itself is your totality. It's not the world, it's your recall is the totality. That truly is the only universe you've ever touched, ever. So your entitlement to how rich you want that universe to be is going to not determine your geography, not determine your geographical location. It's going to determine your saturation of the vibrancy of everything that's in that room at that moment, in that space, in that time. Whether you be a sailor, World War I, someone running around the field trying to stay alive in Normandy, someone in the Civil War who just doesn't want their toes to fall off because it's winter. You're having a limbic experience, and only the pain and suffering and the jubilation and the feeling of you deservedness your survival through that experience has been not just an identity, but it actually has been the true shape of your root. If you think about these things in terms of the physical space, isn't what we're experiencing. It's our limbic feelings, the jelly of that. That is a certain shape because you went yuppie and then you turned left. This is me. I'm just, I headed towards Yuppieville and I did a hard left, and then I went into Hippieville. Then I did a fucking banking left turn again. And then people were like, "Why are you going back?" And I'm like, "I don't know where. I don't. This is just the shape. It's the shape of my constellation. I don't. It's gonna feel like a failure because I've never seen anyone else do this shape before. That's why. It's the only reason why. It's the only reason why. You guys, you always say, I really appreciate this place. I'm saying this jovially because it gives me purpose in life. But more importantly, this is what a beaked whale. This is the only way that beaked whales would meet. It's the only fucking way is you'd have to go to a place that's a little bit out of the way that isn't locally right there, right? You're going to a place you're learning to listen and communicate on a certain channel because there's other people, not a lot. It only takes one, right? And if you come to that channel, you're probably going to hear another one of those things. We are the Gaia consciousness. We're the beaked whales now. So all the failures that we see around us locally are exactly what we're supposed to see. We never would have sought this other channel if we weren't sick of the AM radio. If we weren't like, this Rush Limbaugh's driving me fucking nuts. It's the only reason why we'd be like, what happens if you invent a different antenna? We had to do that, right? So all the strife that we have is you got yourself into this. You're the one that came down to this fucking channel and started enjoying it. You did this to your fucking self, man. Suck it up. Because you're the one down here drinking from the signal. You know what I mean? And this is why I was saying earlier when I was like starting out. This is really, I think, why we complain. It's because ultimately we fucking know. We know what got us here, and we're just either mad about that or we're gambling because we realize it's really hard to back up. You can, but it just takes so fucking long, and it's going to be embarrassing. You're going down the escalator the wrong way, and you used to be a beaked whale. You're a beaked whale, and you're like, I want to go back to hyena. It's like, of course it's going to sting. Of course it's going to hurt. Of course it's going to feel this way. Great stuff, guys.
Great. I wanted to relate to a little bit on the flower. With the Peru, when I went to Peru, we were asked to pick a flower and put it in a vase in this room where the spirits speak. And my flower is a peony, and it's a very complicated flower. It needs ants. It's like it has to have a northern climate. It needs to freeze. It has like multiple petals, and so they would always ask after year, how is your flower growing? What are you doing to tend your flower? Because everyone's flower is a unique flower. Some people would put, like there was sunflowers in there, magnolias, daisies. Everyone had different flowers, so. And then whenever I see the people that I went to Peru with, I always look at them and then see their flower. So it's like, I'm going to look at all you guys and figure out what flowers you want, or you could pick one for yourself. But yeah, I was just thinking about flowers and how beautiful everyone's flower is. So we have about 5 minutes, and Yesenia, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Just real quick, like a question. In terms of prana economy, because this is something that has been happening to me recently. I like drive up to public places and then I scope out like who's going in, like the demographic of people, and then I'm like, I don't want to go inside. And then I drive back home and I'm like, screw ice cream, screw coffee. I don't want to do it right now. What do you think is going on?
Oh my God, you sound like me. I can't believe how many times this happens to me. I'll give you an example is IKEA. I used to go to IKEA with my family because they're all like, let's go to IKEA. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And we go and I'm walking around and I'm with my family, so I really want to enjoy myself. And so, I grab some things, and every single time I do, I just, it's just after a while, I'm so fatigued. And I don't buy anything. I don't want to, this isn't me. This isn't how I, this happens to me all the time. All the time. I just engage in the experience, and I'm just like, this isn't, I have to go, and I'll abandon this stuff. It's not just at IKEA. This happens all the time. This actually happened at the grocery store 3 days ago. I was just like, if you guys don't have sourdough bread, just fuck you all, okay? Fuck you and fuck you. And I'm just kidding. But that did happen. And I have to laugh at myself at that because I realized I didn't actually need groceries, James. You just wanted to go limbically taste things and, and to sort of have an experience where, where it's like that. This is something that any beaked whale would suffer from if you're not around your kin enough. If you don't have enough of that kind of interaction, you're going to suffer from this. It's atrophy. You're going to experience conscious atrophy. And if you want to survive, you're going to have to start doing things that are outside of your comfort zone to get your fix. I literally mean it that way. It's a fix. And I say good. I say good because we're addicted to breathing anyway. So you're not going to outrun this addiction. You're going to be addicted to something. It's going to happen, right? So the internet is giving you more vibrance and it's making it worse, isn't it? It's showing you that there are people like, not to blow my own horn, but there are people like me out there. They're showing you people like everyone here, is what I'm trying to say. It's showing you there are other people out there. And for the first time, you start to feel, I'm not just I'm not a whale that is too deep, that has some sort of beak, weird looking nose or whatever. I'm not. I'm just this. This is, and that's not even right. You're probably deeper than this. Probably are. So I don't need you to be authentically James Truian, right? This is, we're just listening to the same SoFar channel, aren't we? We're just tapping in the same SoFar channel, trying stuff out. And really, most of the time, what I hear most of us say, me especially, is this is what I'm not. I'm not a hyena. I'm not this. I'm not that. I'm not that. And this is you. The world is shaping you. The world is putting you up, and you're saying, I am a sunflower. I'm not. Sunflower's going to go this way. Different flowers are going to go another way. So, that's why if you're a true symbiote, you can embrace the fact that the world is shaping you because you already know the world's perfect. And you would even kind of want it to, you kind of want it to shape you. Kind of want that. And really, all you have to do is come to grips with how many times you did not pull the entitlement cord and say no. That's really all it comes down to. And that's why I wish that we'd be more okay with saying no, too. If we could learn how to degrade with grace, oh my God. Like if we could learn how to stumble with grace, like to Audrey Hepburn and the toilet paper on her shoe. How would she do that? I honestly don't know. I'm just, it's a joke, but it's exactly right. It's a perfect analogy. And you could picture her doing that. You could picture her pulling that off. I don't know how she'd do it, but it's like that. So the struggle is good. Are you guys whining about it? You're not fucking whining about it. All you're doing is saying, look how deep this berry is. That's what you're doing. Do you see what I mean? It's not just talk. That's really what I mean. I do this too. I'm going through this right now with some personal stuff that I'm trying not to talk about because it's just so, it's just so fucking really annoys me. But it's been this way my whole life. This is this constant whole life situation. And I'm just like, I'm not surprised by it, but I keep coming back to go, it's like the people you see that are like, this tastes like shit, try this. Where people are like, this tastes awful here. And they want you to experience how awful it tastes. And I'm realizing the whole world's full of people like that. Most of the world is that. Almost all the world is that. And I had to see it perfectly because once I do, when I look at my family in this one way, I can see that there's nothing wrong with my family. What's wrong with me is thinking that the world's perfect, you know, that this isn't perfect is what I mean. What's wrong with me is thinking that this is, how else would you make a fucking beaked whale? You'd have to be pretty unhappy. You'd have to be pretty unhappy to have a heart the size of a fucking piano and to want to put it under that much depth, that much cold, that much lack of light, that much fucking emptiness. Those places where you can't even come back and tell other people what's there because they're not going to fucking believe you. Oh, yeah, there's a giant pyramid down there. Yeah, sure there is. There's a fucking giant. Yeah, sure. And you're just like, can you come down? They're like, no, I'm not going down there. And you're like, well, so you're not going to believe me? No. And you're not going to come down? No. Okay. So what am I crazy? Yes, you're crazy because you're swimming too deep. That's your problem. Fucking deep sea swimmer. You fucking beaked whale. This is society. This is literally how it all happens. It's how it all happens. We wonder why they fucking beach themselves. Why the fuck would they not beach themselves sometimes? I don't think if we didn't find each other with the internet, we had to invent an internet. We would have fucking died. We would have fucking died. Corona would have killed us all. I swear to fuck it would have. We not found each other. We not been like, oh my God, there's building 7. Oh fuck. Steel beams, jet fuel. It's like we're finding each other there, right? We're like, this is so beautiful, guys. It's so beautiful. I am so lucky to even have this a little part of this, just this little sliver of this year, you know? It's perfect. It sucks, that's fine. Yeah, but it's perfect suck, you know?
Oh, thanks, James. I am we're just about finished, and if there's anybody has a burning thing, I thought we could maybe go over just a teeny bit if that's okay. I'm going to take the Natchez trace. I've not taken the whole trace before, so I'm going to take the trace and I'm going to camp on the trace with my new moon fire ashes. And I'm going to weave the ashes from this location into the ashes of the mound people as I head up to North Carolina. So I am on a high level whale mission. And see, I'm going to take your knowing that you're with me. And all of y'all are going to be with me as I do this, because I don't care if anyone sees or I have anyone like watching, because I know what the level of the ash and what the intentions are in that. So does anyone have anything to?
I forgot to ask real quick.
I'm gonna send this to Lori, but you might miss it because you're going to be gone, but it'll be there after.
Thank you, Deb. Go ahead, Pi.
I just wondered, did anybody notice anything weird about the sunrise today, or like happen to look at it?
The corona hole is huge. I know that, but I didn't see sunrise this morning.
Okay, I was just curious.
Anyone else see it?
I had clouds this morning, so I didn't see the rise. Yeah, it was gray. Yeah, so you got a nice
It was
rise.
kind of cloudy. I saw the sun, you know, when it's yellow, when it's kind of behind clouds. And then I also saw like a perfect disc above it, like the moon. Only isn't it like the new moon? Like there shouldn't be a moon, right?
No moon.
But it was big, like what the sun or the moon might look when it's lower. But then some clouds, I was going to view it, but the clouds got in the way, so I couldn't really see it. But I could have sworn there was a sun. And when I looked at it, it felt really cold. It felt like nothing was emanating from it. And it was just weird the way it was being filtered, so pale. And I don't know. I just, you know, I can't, I just wondered if anybody noticed anything. Just, sorry, I didn't mean to hold it up.
Fantastic, Pi. I felt as you described it, the excitement that you felt, and I felt that from you. So I had to share. I was like, oh, wow. So I'm glad you caught it. Good job.
Me too, Pi. Alex, hands up.
There are actually 3 or 4 people, other channels talking about it right now. If you get a certain red filter on your phone, you could actually see there's 3 suns. There's the original one, there's the green sun, and the black sun. That's there in the atmosphere right now. The only way you can see it is with a special red filter camera. Thank you.
Or with Pi's eyes.
That's what I captured. 3 things on the 2017 eclipse with an infrared. I imagine you're talking about infrared, and I did capture 3 images. It was like a little cloudy, and I had to go out, and it had totality and passed like directly over where I was at. So I thought that's when I could still use my old camera, because I had my Windows XP still was working then. But I did see 3 things though. I mean, one was like kind of a smaller whitish thing, and then one that I imagined like was the moon, and then there was kind of like a little almost yin yang-ish kind of a thing, and they were all they were on a plane, they were in a row, and they were kind of different sizes, and it just picks, because just by having a filter, that if you have the right type of like this camera had a flaw in the hot plate that allowed it to take infrared, the exposure has to be just right. So I suppose on a phone you can get that. But anyway, sorry, but yeah, I know it's weird, but I did see 3 things in that photograph that it didn't seem like artifacts or anything like that I've run into. So.
Well, I'm not surprised that you're seeing new things, Pi. Not at all. I think our time is up, and it was a great dojo. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Lori.
Really great dojo.
Yeah, everybody on mute.
Beautiful
Thank
show.
you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.